The record was a hit and the video's a classic, but what makes a good song great? We speak to the finest musical minds.
I think having it lay on the shelf for 2 years probably was very good for the song, actually. I mean, there are pieces that turn up in Beethoven that were first sketched out 15 years before they actually found their rightful place. So yeah, let them marinate.
One of Fairytale of New York's main influences was Ennio Morricone's score for Once Upon a Time in America, a film the band watched repeatedly on their tour bus.
The main influence for the first notes that you hear is from Ennio Morricone, basically. You know, that's you know, from Once Upon a Time in America.
Fairytale is a mix of two distinct songs, the piano start and then the main body, as Gary Carpenter, a classical composer from the Royal Academy of Music, demonstrates.
It's kind of like A Day in the Life of the Beatles, which is also two songs that are grafted together. Whereas this, because he actually takes the opening tune, which is this. And uses that later in the song so that he does. So in other words, it provides a kind of unity. So in fact, although it is two songs, it doesn't feel like it.
The Pogues also stole a musical trick from the classics, but they weren't the first modern songwriters to do it.
Now, that's a very expressive harmonic gesture. It's what, in classical terms, is referred to as an appoggiatura.
It was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank.
You get it, for example, in the start of Yesterday. You know, if he went, yesterday, I don't think it would be covered 212,000 times. You know, I mean, who cares? That is what gives it the particular effect, and the same goes here.
It's like a little symphony. You know, every little bit is bang on, you know. The way the whole thing is constructed is just a beautiful work in itself. You can admire it just for that.
This feels like it's been constructed. It's been worked. It's a craftsman-like song. It's very well put together.
A feature of Pogues' songs are Shane MacGowan's lyrics. Heavily influenced by the greats of Irish literature, they stand up well to close analysis.
It's a classic New York tale, isn't it? Two people coming to New York all wide-eyed, and she ends up as a junkie, I think. And he's in a drunk tank, so it's a great Christmas song. There should be more of them.
Singer Nick Cave and Shane MacGowan have been friends for years, but they work in very different ways.
He would sing me songs that he'd written, and I mean, great stuff, great lyrics, which a lot of them never saw the light of day. And he would be picking up scraps of paper from the floor and going, "Oh, I got another one," type of thing, and singing stuff, and it was really, really powerful stuff.
Shane MacGowan's lyrics are consistently good, but Fairytale of New York is considered one of his best.
It can be reduced by the likes of me into an old couple, you know, having a bit of a Barney on Christmas Eve, but that's not really what it's about.
To really understand the lyrics to Fairytale of New York, we need to know about Irish-American history. For over 250 years, Irish immigrants have been arriving in America. The lyrics are about their dreams of a new life and their memories of home. We gather together three Irish-American historians at Ellis Island, the immigration centre where new arrivals, after travelling for thousands of miles, were screened before being allowed into the US. It's now a tourist attraction.
You finally get it, you see the Statue of Liberty, and then you hold your breath to make it through those checkpoints down there at the desks, and then on to wherever you were going.
Many a dream were dashed right here in these very halls. When you think about they made it this far, you know, over whatever journey to get to this point, and then they realized that they weren't getting through.
For all the gold the world might hold.
Many Irish immigrants who did manage to get through US customs had a struggle ahead. Songs like Galway Bay and The Rare Old Mountain Dew are mentioned in the lyrics of Fairytale of New York, tapping into Irish-American nostalgia.
And I'd lay my bones 'neath churchyard stones beside you, Galway Bay.
The world of Galway Bay, the world of John Ford's Quiet Man, the world of an imagined Ireland is very much a diasporic world. And that's one that's heavily nostalgic and heavily sentimental. And bang, we're being hit up against this in the very song, where sentiment meets sadness.
Happy Christmas, you're ours. I pray God it's our last.
And these are clearly immigrants because they're saying Happy Christmas rather than Merry Christmas, you're ours.
References to Sinatra swinging and cars as big as bars point to the 50s, but the song has a more contemporary relevance. Shane MacGowan wrote it at a time when many of his countrymen were forced to leave Ireland and head to America.
I think it's the timing of it. 1987 was really the peak period of immigration, new immigration out of Ireland to the United States. So that young generation of people who would be listening to Shane MacGowan and the Pogues and being in the bars, they'd relate to it on a very serious level.
I could have been someone.
Well, so could anyone.
Around 100,000 young Irish moved to the US in the mid-80s when the song was written. For the families they left behind, America was a place of their dreams.
Kieran, my eldest brother, would have went in 85, 86. Because there was no jobs really in Ireland. We were constantly chatting to them on the phone, and they were telling us the stories of New York and how amazing it was, and how I guess I was next, you know, when I got to the age, I would have gone myself, but luckily I, you know, got into Boyzone and things changed. But so when that song came out, it was one of those songs that you held on to tightly, because you imagine when you saw the video, you imagine that's how New York looked.
The words and music give the song a filmic quality. Not surprising when you remember what they spent their time watching on the tour bus.
But it has this view of New York which is actually totally unreal and romantic and right out of the movies.
I think Shane MacGowan's work in that funny way, it actually does capture something about America, and particularly New York City, but something you would never be aware of.
I kept them with me, babe. I kept them with my own. Can't make it on my own. I built my dreams around you. I mean, that's a really strong moment, and that's beautiful.
A lot of people think they can write songs, but to be that poetic is very hard to sort of achieve, you know, certain simplicity and sort of hitting the nail on the head.